Welcome everyone to a caster game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the south corner of the map playing in red, we've got Anotand playing as the Malians. And battling against them today, spawning in the north in blue, we've got Kiljardi playing as the Abbasid dynasty. Welcome everyone to Dry Arabia. Now as always, hope you're all having a great morning, good afternoon, maybe good evening, who knows. What I'm excited for is this matchup. The Abbasids have been, held as an incredibly strong civilization recently. Of course, their economic wing, which they've had for quite some time. They've just been... Oh, look at this mining camp. Holy moly. That's a beautiful mining camp. I mean, there's a bit of a tile there, I think. So it's not the most efficient gold mine, but I guess in the early stages of the game, you're not really going to be too interested in gold anyway. Especially with the, the two town centre play here for the Abbasids. Either way... On the other side of things here, the Malians, kind of curious to see how this one pans out, right? We expect the Abbasids to go multiple town centres, probably two, maybe sometimes three, who knows. The Malians typically go for a cow boom into the Grand Corral, what's it called? The Grand Fulani Corral, that's it. And that gets you plenty of food very nicely in the castle age. But the one thing about it is, it only scales so far. Now, professional scouts has been a thing for a lot of civilizations recently, especially the Delhi, and the Malians typically are looking to get that as well, so could be getting plenty of food that way potentially. But then you have to start to wonder, well, if you're going professional scouts, do you really need the cow boom? Maybe there are other alternatives. We have to see today what Anotand decides to do, because it's definitely a new kind of change with the Malians. We have seen some people go for professional scouts, and therefore they're a little less reliant on those cows. We'll have to see. Either way, looks like it's going to be... Well, not click up just yet, but I imagine Kiljardi will drop off some food soon enough and then go up to the next stage. Kind of expecting the eco wing. I'd be surprised to see anything else here today. But we'll find out sooner rather than later. Now, I would like to say a very big thank you, by the way, for everyone who's been supporting the channel. As always, you guys are absolute legends. Special shout out to the YouTube channel members and the Twitch subscribers. Going the extra mile to support the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just to let you guys know as well, I do actually now have another YouTube channel, and it's a slightly different sort of thing. I'm not going to be casting on it. It's going to be about RTS in general, real-time strategy, news, updates, new games coming out. And if that's something you like to do, maybe you're looking for something a bit more fresh, rather than just Age of Empires 4, I certainly recommend it. It's called, I almost forgot what it's called now. It's called Strategy Games Central. So I'll leave a link in the video description anyway, where you can find it, and also as a pinned comment, if you want to check that out. It's going to be, alright, this is something interesting. It's going to be the Saharan Trade Network. We don't usually see this one. We usually see the Mansa Quarry. But that's going to give him a lot of protection in this forward position, right? Because he's got forward gold, forward berries, so it does make quite a bit of sense here to keep this area protected. Now, the Abbasids are now starting to go strong on the stone. Interestingly enough, actually, Kiljardi is going for the military wing. I mean, he's still going to go for a second town centre, but he wants to put some pressure early. And the unfortunate thing for him is that by the time his units get across the map, he's going to be running into the Saharan Trade Network. That makes things a little bit awkward for him, because he's obviously foregoing the cheaper discount on multiple town centres. One thing to bear in mind, though, this does actually work him in a good spot if he wants to go for a really heavy feudal age presence, because of course he does get access to boot camp, which would increase the health of all infantry by 15%. So mass archer plays is often a thing for the Abbasids. Sprinkle in a couple of spearmen and you're in good spot in the feudal age, right? So it does feel like, Kiljardi should have a good feudal age here if he's looking to be aggressive. But we'll see how much damage he can do, considering the static defense coming out for Anotand. No mills just yet for the Malians. Now, this is interesting, right? Because now you're foregoing the gold from the Mansa Quarry. It means you either have to have more villagers on gold or actually get professional scouts. So that could be a thing here, if this is what he's looking to do. The question is, where does Kiljardi place his second town centre? A lot of the resources are kind of far out. Could potentially go here on the woodland in the deer camp. I kind of expect he will. There's some, query as to whether he wants to be a bit more defensive with it. A bit closer to home. We'll have to see what he really prioritizes in this match. Oh, here are the units. Not actually moving out. I think he forgot to rally his House of Wisdom there, unfortunately. Not that he would be able to achieve too much with those units. He could potentially flank around the back, but it's a long way to go. Yeah, he spots it out. The scout gets a couple of arrows in the butt. Alright, well, the scout being a bit annoying here for Anotand. He's just trying to push the deer away as much as possible. Now the villagers are now onto the deer camp. So this is something where actually Anotand might look to try and target. And I think it's actually got 2 scouts. Yeah, Anotand does have 2 scouts. So it kind of screams professional scouts. Doesn't have to go for many of them, but the benefit for Malians in particular for going for scouts, of course, they can upgrade them. They can get warrior scouts. They can be a bit annoying in the mid-game for sure. Oh, interesting. He's actually going to go for a second town centre, would you believe? Okay, looking to match things up a little bit. This is very curious. Okay, we must be steering away from cow boom, right? Because it's interesting how the cow boom typically, it scales the economy, not in a similar way to the town centre, but it scales the economy nonetheless. And so you don't typically go for second town centre and cow booming. And the fact that we don't see a mill just yet, oh, we do see a mill, but the fact that we don't see a single cow just yet suggests that he's not going to be going for the cattle ranches. Definitely an interesting style of play, different than usual. This is going to be a... Well, oh, okay. Oh, he's going for third town centre. He is indeed, actually. So going to be scaling his economy even further. Of course, the Abbasids can kind of get away with this because they've got the technology called fresh foodstuffs, which allows them to make their villages significantly cheaper. It means they save more food into units, or more food into further town centre production. Ah, there it is. There's professional scouts all queued up for the Malians now. That's exactly his plan here. Walling up around the back just to make sure he's safe and secure. But the big thing is actually for the Malians, look how condensed he's playing with his economy, right? 2 town centres very close to each other. No doubt going to be looking to pick up those the deer camps with the professional scouts, bring the food home. So I think really in this scenario, Kiljardi will do well to try and protect the deer camps, stop them from being taken too easily. Maybe get a third town centre on this gold position, right? This is probably something he wants to protect. Maybe round the side here, and then look to get to the castle age. So we're going to get a bit of a slow start to the game. But that's okay, because we know that, you know, as time goes on, it just means it's going to be the calm before the storm. The game will heat up eventually. As we see a stable opening, and going to go for the warrior scout upgrade. Yeah, the units were cycling around the back, but unfortunately not going to get too much joy out of this because of the walls. It's a pretty good investment as it happens. Pretty slow to build now on this patch. 8 seconds per tile of wall, but well worth it. And the villager might even finish at the end. Yeah, it does. Oh, this villager. Yeah, okay, backing away now, and she should survive. Well, Anotand knows about the third town centre now at least, so can get prepared and ready for that. Looks like maybe considering going for the castle age. Yeah, he's shifting more villages onto gold. I suspect he'll be in a good spot to do it as well, but especially with the deer carcasses going to be coming in soon, I'd imagine. Adding in a second stable beforehand, though, so maybe we'll see some feudal age aggression. Oh, wait. Did he... Okay, survival techniques. Gotcha. That'll certainly help get that food in quicker. And the villager count will start to really escalate for the Abbasids, of course, with 3 town centres. It's going to get a back for some spearmen, probably anticipating the cavalry play. Well, I think that's a good sign if you're playing as the Malians, because you're thinking, well, okay, sure they've got fresh foodstuffs, but still 3 town centres are pretty expensive, and then you've got the barracks coming up if he's going to invest into spearmen. That's a very heavy cost of food. So the castle age for the Abbasids will be relatively delayed. Now, considering castle age, we have to wonder, what does the Malians go up with? It's got to be the Furimba garrison, right? Makes no sense to go for the Grand Fulani Coral. Not with this economy setup, at least. Oh, got housed there pretty badly. Has to rush that out. But that then unlocks some potential, right? You've got some upgradable units. You've got the Freeborn Warrior. That could be an option for him. It's got the Mansa versions of units. So the Mansa Musafadi Warrior could be an option. Looks like it's going to be walling up here heavily here, Kiljardi. Expecting to be under a bit of pressure, right? Because he knows that he's gone 3 town centres. He's playing the mid to late game, extra villagers, more economy, and then push on out. So the way the game's panning out really is an interesting one, right? I think a lot of it is down to the map generation as well, with these 2 golds being forward for Anotand. Kind of forced his hand a little bit into the Saharan trade network, and then he kind of committed a little bit. And then he's going to go for the Furimba garrison, most likely. But what this has also enabled is Kiljardi to really get 3 town centres, play the later stages of the game, and wall up to make sure he survives that time. That's a lot of villagers in gold, holy moly. 20 villagers on gold, trying to get the quick time. The other thing to bear in mind is farming transitions. There is a deer camp here at the back. I imagine the Abbasids won't need a farming transition for a little while longer. Certainly the same can be said for the Malians with the deer camp being brought on in. There's going to be a bit of a rush to the car stage. Bear in mind, though, as soon as the Malians have got the resources, they can power build it. How many villages? It's going to be used in 11 villages. And of course, as we know, the Abbasids can't actually speed their process up. It's just going to take as long as it takes. 1 minute 40 seconds or so. I imagine the Malians definitely get the car stage a lot quicker. But he kind of needs to as well, right? He needs to get control of those relics to be able to sort of balance the economy between the two players a little bit. Has invested in a couple more scouts as well. Golden Age tier 1 at 10 minutes, 11 minutes is pretty late actually as it happens. It's a pretty significant thing. It's a big chunk of the economy. Tier 1 gives you an extra 15% gather rate on all the resources. Now granted, he did get third town centres. That's partly contributory to the delay, but it's a delay nonetheless. Yeah, and there's the Roman garrison just about to be built. I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to go for. He's got the ability to enlist freeborn warriors potentially, elite Mansa Javelineers, and elite Mansa Musafadi. He's yet to make his decision though. Just harassing a couple of villagers. Now, good 11 villager lead. What's going to be telling in the next 5-10 minutes is actually how many relics will either player get. Oh, interesting. It's going to be the freeborn warriors. They're an interesting unit, by the way. They're fast melee infantry with high pierce armor, so they're very good against ranged units, but they kind of suffer against highly armored units. So Gulam would be a problem, especially with boot camp. That could be an issue. It does change the dynamics of things as well, because you start to think about, well, if the freeborn warrior are prone to highly armored units, for example the Gulam or maybe even the Lancer, that then allows the Malians to go for also the Musafadi warrior, because the Musafadi warriors are great against armored units, and that gives you then a full infantry composition. Then you start to wonder, what does the Abbasid dynasty go for it, right? You could go for crossbows to deal with the Musafadi warriors, but then they struggle against the freeborn warriors. So then you might want to add in your own Gulam. Becomes a bit hectic, which is a pretty good army composition actually. I feel like I maybe favour the Gulam and crossbows versus the mass infantry of the freeborn warrior and the Musafadi warrior. The reason why, really, is because of the ability for the crossbows to kite, right? They can use the map to their advantage. They do have to have the positioning though. They have to be further to their enemy and be able to, run back, hit, run back, hit, run back, hit, that kind of mechanic. But, with the infantry for the Malians, if they just go straight into the base, it does become a lot more tricky. Another option for the Abbasids is maybe to add in a mangonel or two. They have recently received a nerf, but they can do a decent job against mass infantry for sure. Maybe a mixture of both. Maybe crossbows, Gulam, and mangonels could be a good option for him. Has got the mosque pumping out some scholars, some imams sooner rather than later, but I imagine the Malians have already got theirs out, right? Yeah, he's already picked up one relic and deposited it in, so it's pretty nice, and it's causing a bit of hassle around the back, forcing the army for the Abbasids to stay at home, and this is exactly what Malians want to do, right? Because he's got map control, he should be able to pick up the lion's share of the relics. He sniped the villagers, got to be careful not to run into too many of those spears though with these warrior scouts, and don't forget scouts can heal each other, well, not each other, but they can heal themselves over time. Definitely an interesting unit, but don't really want to go up against the veteran spearmen of the Abbasids. The spearmen here for the Abbasids probably one of the best in the game, especially with the phalanx upgrade, the extra range on them makes them incredibly strong. Now 2 more relics on the way here potentially for the Malians, but he kind of needs it, right? He's 10 villages behind, but he has killed 7 Abbasid villagers. That actually goes a long way to reduce that gap, right? You can imagine a 17 villager difference is a lot different than just 10. Golden Age Tier 2 does now come in for the Abbasids, which will increase the research speeds of their economy by 15%. Not too shabby, but he's running right, anotand, keeping units all sorts of directions in the base, making it tricky for the Abbasids to really group together. He wants those walls up. Third town centre has only yielded him a slight edge on the economy, but when you factor in relics coming in, it's going to be a different picture. Freeborn warriors are out on the map now, making their way across, and they look really good, by the way. I love the fact that Age of Empires 4, with the new DLCs and new changes, they keep improving the game in such a nice way. Interestingly enough, rather than going for the Musafadi warriors, has gone for the Sofa for the extra mobility. I don't hate it. Oh, there's a couple of villagers here around the back. This is a problem here for the Abbasids. He's starting to bleed these villagers. He's going to... Oh, he didn't get that one. Oh, he might get it in the end. Can be a close one. And one more hit. Boop. Down she goes. So if I didn't get caught by the spearmen, so just got to be careful here, Anotand, not to lose too many units. Oh, this is a bit of an awkward situation, right? Farming transition coming at a bit of a rough time for Kiljardi, but he does have plenty of wood in the bank anyway, so it's not necessarily the biggest problem here. But the problem is the freeborn warriors. So this is awkward. He's not making a single gulam. He's making some crossbows, making some archers, but it feels like he needs the counter unit for freeborns. The counter are lancers. The counter are gulam. They're not spearmen. Yeah, but he's struggling on gold. The third relic is in play. Fourth one about to be brought back here by Anotand. So the eco advantage is not really as big as you think when you look at just the sheer numbers of villagers. Got to factor in the relics as well. You're stopping the walls going up, yet more villagers dying. And what are we being queued up in the Abbasid dynasty barracks? It's got to be Gulam, right? He's struggling to afford it. The farming transition came at a very awkward timing, but the farms are out. They're up now. As they are starting to become up for the Malians as well. Of course, neither civilization can take advantage of the boar. Both adhering to the Islamic tradition, can't take that meat, and so gonna have to rely on just the farms and the deer camp. The big thing about this situation as well is not only is Anotand getting villager kills, but he's also idling about 1/10 of the economy. These small differences will start to add up. But you have to say, if the Abbasids can stabilize, there is a window of opportunity for them to group together. A lot of the aggression here has come out of the fact that actually the Abbasids have not been able to consolidate the army, right? He's had to pull himself left, right, and center because of these units here and there for the Malians. But it feels like now he's starting to stabilize a little bit. Palisades are more or less up. There's kind of an opening here, but he's getting an outpost and defensive emplacements. So, yeah, I mean, if Kiljardi can start to stabilize, he will push on forward and maybe get a bit more of a coordinated attack. So the game is far from over, and Anotand needs to be careful about a push coming in soon, as you'd expect in the timings of this. But he's got 4 relics, which is definitely helpful for the late game. The Abbasids now can breathe easy, start to group together, and you can see the military numbers looking really good. So Excite being capped here by the Abbasids probably won't really go up in the end. Gonna go for the one in the middle. That's the Malians rather. A lot of villages on stone. I wonder what Anotand's thinking here. Is he thinking about a keep? He must be, right? Maybe a keep down the middle, because we're going to start to see villagers and go, oh, look at that. That gold. Wait. That gold is incredibly favourable for the Abbasids. Granted, to be fair, the starting position was here, and he has ventured out quite far, across the map. But this doesn't really seem too much more in the middle of the map. It seems a little bit more on the Abbasid side of things, so it's definitely helpful for him. I imagine Anotand's going to secure this one. Right? He kind of has to, actually. He's got to get control of that. Oh, trade? He's got a market set up very early. Not the best... Wait, why would you... It's not the best trade... I mean, it's an awkward run, because the trade is right behind, right? So, kind of curious that he went for this side. And not in the corner either. Around the back, Freeborn should be able to clear this up. I mean, he's starting to add in Gulam now. But it's just the sheer numbers, right? So the Freeborns should be able to beat these guys. Look at this. It's going to be a fast Imperial. Well, I say fast Imperial, but... a faster Imperial than the Abbasids are getting anyway. He's going to go for the Griat Bara. This is an interesting approach, right? Because now I really think the Abbasids could start to push. He's been able to breathe a little bit. The economy is building up. He's got some units on the field, 67 military units. This is dicey. Like, factor in the fact that he's been able to group the army together now. The Abbasids is going to go for a timing push now anyway, most likely, or be able to at least consolidated force forward. At the same time, it's a big investment to the Imperial Age here for the Malians. And because of that, it leaves them pretty exposed. I can imagine Anotand thinking, alright, now is go time. And look at the unit numbers. It's kind of crazy. Bear in mind now, though, the Farimba garrison, look at that. He's going to go for the Mansa Musafadi. So he's going to enlist another unit. But he needs the elite upgrades, right? It makes a lot of sense to get them. Well, he needs them now because it needs to make that Imperial Age count for something. Now, granted, the keep was actually placed a little bit closer to home, rather than the 8,000 gold vein, so it does protect a decent chunk of the economy as well. There's some good farms there that the keep protects, but that's a lot of forces. Oh, these villages will go down in the end. Unfortunately, they got a bit lazy after building the outpost. This is dangerous territory here for the Malians. Granted, he can just give up a bit of positioning. It just really comes down to how quickly the Abbasids want to kill this game off, or if they can. Could invest into some rams, actually. I'm surprised to see that Kiljardi's not doing that. The Abbasid dynasty don't need to get siege engineering. They have it as standard, so could actually build the rams on the ground. He's got a couple of gulams and spearmen anyway, so maybe he's just going to torch things down as much as he can. But culture wing, again, is an interesting one, because if the game does go long, the trade wing could have been an option for him. Decides against it. It does mean he's going to have a bit more of a power spike in the Imperial Age, right? Because the technologies will be significantly cheaper. Means they should be able to afford a lot more quicker. They should come in, you know, quite quickly. You've got to feel like he's got to do some damage now. But he sees the trade, or I didn't catch how much gold's coming in there, but maybe able to see that in just a moment. So it'd be 44 gold, not huge amounts. Kiljardi being really patient. I think he's waiting for the Imperial Age upgrades, which is kind of an awkward one. I think he's missing his window of attack. Oh, that keeper's a... Oh, that keeper's a... Oh, no, Kiljardi's not spotted it at all. This is going up. I mean, Kiljardi's going to struggle on gold. He's got gold here on the back, to be fair, so we're going to venture out there, but it's only 2,500 odd. And considering how expensive Imperial Age techs are, I'm not going to be able to afford too much with that. Got the elite freeborn warrior. Look at the skin as well. Look at the armor. It looks really vibrant. It looks really easy to tell the difference between the units as well. That's one thing you have to bear in mind. Like, when you think about the mass infantry play here, you wonder how easy is it to be able to discern units, and I think this is a good job. Like, I can't see... You could definitely tell the difference between the freeborn and the Musafadi warriors. One coming up, should be able to capture... Oh, freeborn! Oh, he gets out of there just in time. But this is where it becomes problematic. Kiljardi, he had his army forward, but didn't really use it. Now he has to head back again, and the pressure coming in. Anotand always pressuring his opponent right from the beginning of the game. And unfortunately now, this is going to be putting Kiljardi in a really rough spot. A lot of the economy idled at the moment. A quarter of the economy to be exact. And he's getting villager kills, right? Now granted, he does have 3 town centers, so if he does lose a lot of villagers, he should be able to remake them. But this is not ideal, not by any stretch of the imagination. Oh, looks like the Abbas is going for the keep on the right side now, getting access to that gold. So while this is denied, he's going to get gold from somewhere at least, and he's going to need to, right? So we do see crossbows. We actually see a lot of archers as well, which is an interesting choice. I guess it makes sense in the sense that the crossbows won't really do... Yeah, they're going to be doing the same thing as the archers, really, in this scenario, going up against freeborn and Musafadi warriors. But the main thing is, of course, crossbows cost gold, and archers do not. So that means more gold for the Gulam. But yeah, it certainly feels like it's got to be Gulam and archers, actually, in this army. Add in a couple of mangonels, and you should be in a good spot. Oh, interesting. He has actually gone for a bit of a cow boom behind all this. Makes sense, right? It is. They don't take up population, so why wouldn't you? We'll try to get a keep on the right side. Unit's going to raid. There's a lot of outposts, but there's... yeah, okay, the village garrison inside. There's enough space here. The question is, will the Malians send more units to take down this keep? He doesn't have boiling oil just yet. The raids have more or less stopped. But look at this, Anotand. He's struggling on gold, so he wants to get control of this one on the right side. In the meantime, though, he's going to be looking to lose... He's going to be losing that keep on the west side. Villagers are backing off, and the Abbasids don't feel too confident keeping this area alive just yet. Just to buy some time. Well, he's taken out the keep now, so could potentially push on the left side. There's a lot of gold coming in here, though, for Anotand. Also a lot of stone. Yeah, Anotand is going to get his keep up in the end here. Trying to get walls up. And to be fair, he's done a pretty decent job on the walls to try and stop the trade. But yeah, it feels like they're going to both go for this gold, potentially, although maybe Kiljardi has other ideas. He wants to be aggressive now, and we could start to see a big push. Perhaps for the first time in the game, the Abbasids are stabilizing. They're having a really good push on the left side, very coordinated, and this is not something I think that Anotand can just ignore. He's going to have to address this. Going to get a keep on the left side, right side rather. He's got a keep on the left side already. So he's going to start sprinkling in these units. Despite the freeborn warriors seemingly meant to be not taking too much damage from the arch. Oh, to be fair, they're not taking all that much damage, you can see. They're pretty beefy. Good numbers here of archers for the Abbasids, so it should be fine, especially with composite bows. Certainly helps out the extra damage, or the fire rate really. Oh, there's a lot of villagers there out for the taking. Anotand's got to be careful not to lose too many villagers because he's only got 2 town centres to replace them with, and he's going to try and get surrounded with these archers. Go for the choke point between the house and the palisades. There's going to be a lot of food economy idled here very shortly. Oh, this is a bit of a disaster here for Anotand. That's a lot of villagers, and slowly but surely, maybe... Oh, that's another batch of villagers going to go down. This is huge for Kiljardi. He's killing so many villagers. Really wrecking that economy. These archers are now going to be taken apart, but he's got archers elsewhere too. And he's attacking from all sorts of angles. The last couple of seconds, Anotand has lost a lot of villagers. But granted one thing, he does have the cow boom passive food generation at least now to hold on to. Oh, that's a lot of villagers. Oh no, Anotand, he sent the villagers back to work, but then, oh no. Kiljardi is going to get so much value here. Anotand, he's got to do something. He's not reacting. I guess he's looking elsewhere, but in the meantime, he's losing a lot of villagers. Granted, there are now a couple of freeborns, so they'll start ripping through these archers. But he's had so much value already. Get another raid on the left side, and Kiljardi's starting to really put pressure on Anotand. Anotand was doing the same thing to him in the first half of the game, but it seems like the tables have turned. And now actually looks like the Malians are struggling on economy, at least in terms of villager numbers, but he's still got the cow boom. You've got to always respect the cow boom. It's got a solid amount of food coming on in because of it. The question is, can Kiljardi maintain this pressure? He hasn't got any siege, would you believe? A couple of rams here would really start taking down this production, especially considering how much there is here. Does have the cannon emplacement, I believe, in the Saharan trade network. Certainly helpful. This is something Anotand needs to clean up. He will eventually, but he's trickling in units for now. Oh, these freeborn are going to be peppered with arrows. Alright, we see the lightweight beams, so maybe we'll start to see some battering rams. Let's go for elite army tactics, makes a lot of sense for his infantry. Yeah, but the lack of siege is kind of weird. He's got an advantage, but he's not really capitalizing it by taking down infrastructure. There's one thing doing damage in terms of killing villagers. You also want to do some lasting damage, take out production as well if you can. Fortunately, Kiljardi hasn't been able to do that. He's being really passive. Where is he going? Because he's going to go for the trade, but it feels so awkward, right? Maybe down here in the south? In the meantime, Anotand not taking the bait to chase. Oh, he wasn't. At least now he's going to be trying to chase this down. He spots where it's coming from, right? So he doesn't want to bleed too much more economy. Understandably so, actually. There's quite a few villages here for the Malians. So in the last 5 minutes, it's been good here for the Abbasids. They've definitely been dominating the positions, and Malians have had to be a bit more defensive. The army is coming now, though, to protect. But again, without siege, it's not going to be huge lasting damage. It's going to try and torch this keep down. Now, there is boiling oils, though. That could make things a little bit tricky here for the Abbasids. These archers are going to be surrounded by the freeborn. Unfortunately, I guess those archers are just going to try and buy time for the rest of the units on the right side to take the keep down. But you can imagine a couple of rams just would have worked wonders. Now, speaking of keeps, Kiljardi going to get his own. He also has access to gold here on the west side. So with the map control, what he's been able to do is actually been able to secure key locations. The good thing for the Malians is still got some passive gold generation, right? That's the key. The game probably would be a lot different if he didn't. He's also got the 4 relics. And the villagers will get the keep up at the end. Oh, he's also got medical centers, so these units are healing up. Probably a decent fight for the Abbasids, although now with this second batch of freeborn, that could turn. Villagers not garrisoning inside the keep. I guess he just wants to mine as much gold as he possibly can. Now they are garrisoned. But you can see the freeborn barely taking any damage from the archers, the arrows. I mean, Things Point would have been worth to just continue mining, but there are units now that would chop them down if they did. An interesting game for sure. It feels like it almost have the tides turned once again. It feels like it. It feels like Anotand's got a large military unit count, and kind of crazy to think about, right? How has he been able to afford all of this? He is pumping now. He's going to torch this keep down. No boiling oil either. It's insane. The ability for the Malians to keep producing the passive gold generation, the passive food generation, just keeps them alive. With a really interesting armor composition. Full infantry, full elite Mansa Musafadi, full freeborn. Elite freeborns as well. Actually managed to get another keep on Oh, that's a massacre. This time Kiljardi didn't spot it. I didn't spot it as well for a while. Here come the rams now on the left side. It's a bit of a tug of war, pull and push. Well, these Magadals need to be protected, but that's a lot of Gulams, so they should be able to demolish this. Actually adding in a couple of hand cannoneers. Magadals deploy, get some really good shots there on the infantry, but he's got to get behind the walls, doesn't want to lose them. Premium units after all. On the left side, the rams will take down the keep eventually. Definitely an interesting match. We are almost, well, just gone half an hour into the game. Oh, he's going to lose the... Oh, I didn't have the villagers repairing. Did have some villagers on hand. This initial fight should be going the way of Kiljardi, but there is a follow-up of units coming across the map now. Look at the red dots trickling across the map. Rams will take the keep on the left side, so there's kind of a bit of a win on the left side for Kiljardi, but... Oh, try to get a cheeky keep. I mean, I don't think this goes up in the end, right? This is... Even if it does, it's going to be torched down instantaneously almost. He's trying to commit to it. I mean, I guess he's got some... Oh, repairs! Oh my god, it literally just went up and goes down in the blink of an eye. That's great value there for Kiljardi. Oh, but tell you what's great value though, this fight. Because if he takes down these Gulam, then he can focus on the villagers. Villagers have to back away. And he's constantly streaming in units. He must have a lot of forward production. Yeah, there it is. Plenty of barracks, and that's pretty much all he's making. Barracks units. Oh no, wood. The villagers here, completely exposed. He's run out of wood there. Run out of wood there. And this is going to be an issue. He has to secure this area if he can. Doesn't look easy though. Speaking of securing wood, where can Anotand get his from? Potentially on the left side, but he's got to clear out this army first. Here are the rams now. He's starting to get some stone walls. Try to buy some time at least. Everything's quieting down a little bit. I think both players have, taken some big battles. They're going to have to regroup and reset a little bit. Anotand has really good gold income. 2,000 gold per minute. This is probably going to be... To be fair, he's got 2,500 odd. It's not too bad. It will expire a lot quicker than the one on the right side. Here come the rams. Oh, villagers never really fully built the wall in the end. But this is a fight, actually, it kind of suits the Malians. Or rather the abbasids. Although there's not enough range to really make it count, right? So if he did have a lot of range, he would do a lot of damage here. Because you can see the infantry, they're not really being able to make contact here, the Malians. The pathing's a bit of an awkward. There's only a certain area to be able to attack with. Unless he did delete a couple of portions of the stone walls. Ultimately, it doesn't matter too much. Because there's only 4 hand cannoneers, right? If you had a lot more, it'd be a totally different story. But unfortunately, for him, he doesn't have them there. He has them on the right side. Magadal's about to deploy, but they miss horribly. And so, to be fair, they're just passing anyway. Okay. Going to clear up the forces on the left though here, Anotand, and the unit numbers looking good for him. The good thing for the Malians as well, they've got good population efficiency, right? Because they've got passive gold, they've got passive food, it means they need less villagers, they can make more military and start to outnumber. So it does hurt the Abbasids in some way. I'll tell you what's going to hurt is the number of villagers being lost here if he doesn't react. Oh, he's going to... No way. Surely he's not fighting with this, is he? There's no way he wins that in a meaningful way. He's going to need army. They are trickling the hand cannoneers, so I guess he's just buying time. But he will lose a significant number of villagers doing this. I guess he's got production nearby, so he's starting to pepper down these freeborn. But I think it's a freebie there, really, for Anotand. It's a fight he would love to take any day of the week. Oh, there's even more units. This time the villagers surely have to back away. A secondary army. And not all will be able to get out of there. He just killed so many villagers in a blink of an eye. Alright, making a move down the middle. This is where it's going to become a really bit tricky for Kiljardi. He's got to somehow deal with the raids and then start to build up again. But you get the feeling Anotand might just kind of steamroll units and bombard on the right side. Take the keep down and just get rid of it. Make sure he has access to that wood potentially in the future. But the farms here being massacred. Oh no, he's got to find a way to stop the bleeding. Because it's extensive. Oh, the mangonels. Oh, they can't fit both at the same time. That's so awkward. That's so unfortunate as well, actually. He loses 2 mangonels when he really shouldn't have. Not his fault, of course, but pathing certainly was a problem there. The keep will go down to the bombard. Left side, gold income. Going to be hampered a little bit, to say the least. And this is where it becomes really problematic for the abbasids. They don't have trade. The opponent has passive food and gold. So, for as strong as the abbasids are held as being, well, the Malians late game with passive gold generation, passive food. It's a brutal one. I guess you've got to see whether the abbasids can group up together in the middle, get a large force of the Death Army, a Death Ball, and it looks like it's trying to do just that. Mangonels deploy. Gets the Mangonel shots off. Alright, another 2 Mangonels deploy. Now, Sacred Sites has never really been an option as a win condition for either player. It's just been a bit too much back and forth, but he's got a really big army down the middle now, Kiljardi. He's got to be careful not to lose it though, because it doesn't have, you know, the biggest gold income, so it can't really replace the army if he loses it. At least not with premium units. Yeah, I think this is go time here for the abbasids really. He's got to make a dent here. If he doesn't, he will be pushed back. He'll be pushed back fiercely. Here come the Freeborn, here come the Mansa Musafari. I do like the hand cannoneers in siege. It certainly helps now with the Mangonels, but the Mangonels are being, oh my god, they got taken from the back. Still one more remains. Good Mangonel shot on the Freeborn. They're kind of surviving around the back though. Villagers are being idled. They're bleeding. About a quarter of the economy once again, and there's no meat shield here in front of the hand cannoneers. That's the problem. The Freeborn, if they get on top of them, they will damage them heavily. Takes out the Mangonel and then the Ram. And unfortunately the push is slowing down, and food is such a big problem. That's the biggest problem here for the abbasids. The farms have been idle for too long. They've lost too many villagers. You see 15 villagers garrisoned inside here when they should be farming food. Instead, sitting there twiddling their thumbs, and yeah, the macro is just so off here for Kiljardi. He's not been able to be on these farms. And the raids constantly has been a real big thorn in the backside of the abbasids. Farms on the left side. This is so awkward. It's so exposed. And look, Anotand getting outposts as well. He knows it's here. It's outside the walls. Imagine Anotand should just send units there now, right? Yeah, he's doing just that. That's the problem. Sure, the initial base is starting to hum again, at least in terms of farming. But this is a lot of economy investment in here. There's a lot of wood pumped into here. A lot of villagers here too. Yeah, you'd imagine this would happen, right? He's going to send his units here. He has to. Where do the villagers retreat to? I think it's all over. I mean, sure, this is so much economy being idled. Sending another batch of Freeborn in the main economy. But yeah, looks like Anotand targeting this left side. Why wouldn't you? He's sending everything he can. Villagers having to scramble for their lives. This is looking a bit dicey. He's going to try and bring as much as he can back at home here. Kiljardi does have 3 town centres after all, so maybe there's a way to reboot, but he's got to keep the food income up. And look at the trade now. It's not huge numbers, but it's still solid trade. And it means his gold income 2,000, almost 3,000 gold per minute. And he's going to be able to continue to produce the Freeborn because of it. On the other hand though, Kiljardi, his gold income is shattered. His food bank resources is shattered. It looks like at the end of this, his energy levels might be shattered because his army is not in the right spots where they need to be. And even more raids around the back. And unfortunately the farms are going to be idle once again. He's only sticking around 175 food, and there's not going to be enough to achieve too much with. Oh, that's another batch of slaughtered villagers. Absolutely humongous. And well, Mangonel shot there at the end, but after all, with 64 military to 29, this feels a really tough ask here for the abbasids. Got a couple more Mangonels. Well, these 2 Mangonels probably going to go down in the end. They're going to get chopped to pieces. Let's get one more shot off. On the left, yeah, another batch of raid, yeah. He's bleeding heavily here, Kiljardi. He's running out of choices, running out of options. He's finding it difficult to stop the bleeding, and he's just going to be bleeding out. He does still have a couple of Mangonels, but he's got to have a coordinated attack, right? He's got to make sure he pushes hard in one spot, but he's just being pulled left, right, and center. And the economy for the Malians has been untouched for a long time now. And he's banked up a lot. Looks like this could be the final push. This is a lot of units going down the middle now. To break through the palisades and then break through the defenses. Yeah, this is the thing, right? He's spending a lot of his military units on the left side to protect the economy. But Anotand, he's just pivoted. He's pivoted to the main base now. And so with such a big portion of the map to try and protect this left side and the main base, he's had to spread his army thinly. It's too thinly. Because now Anotand is focused here and he's switched his angle of attack. And the units are just not here for the abbasids. And even with 3 town centers having lost 215 villagers, down to 77 now. 38 military. It does feel like a tough ask. He does have a couple of outposts with cannon emplacements, which will help protect him and buy some time. It doesn't really feel like it's going to be enough time. 20 food in the bank. So this army composition, freeborn warriors and elite Mansa Musafadi warriors. It's looking a punishing one. It's been one that actually kiljardi's been struggling with since they've been popping out. You've got a defender's advantage in this fight, but still, you see the Malian is trading really well. Ultimately, without gold, he's not going to have a lot of options here, kiljardi. And eventually, maybe, he could actually look to go for the Sacred Sites Anotand if he can get control of this left side. Maybe he'll clear this army up, but there's going to be another fresh wave of units coming on soon, you'd imagine. There they are. They group together, maybe with one final assault. Alright, he's trying to farm again. He's trying to get as much food as he can. This is an army that's going to be tough to deal with, especially with the mangonels. They actually ended up adding in a couple of Musafadi gunners too. It does have medical centers where they can help defend with, help heal up the units. Does feel like a tough ask nonetheless. He's trying to get some palisades up actually. He's trying to protect the economy on the west side. I mean, I guess in a way splitting up the economy does mean that, you know, at least some part of his economy will be working at times. The backed up resources looking good. Oh, a couple of mangonels left unguarded. There they do deploy. This could be massive shots. Holy moly, the ranged units getting absolutely slaughtered here. The mangonels for the abbasids is a bit slow to take the fight. Oh god, that's an absolute massacre. Those mangonels demolishing the archer numbers, and that's going to be hard to replace here for kiljardi. No doubt about it. Sure, he's got his own mangonels, but oh, it could be a good shot for himself actually. It's a decent shot there in the end. But the army here on the left side is nowhere to be seen, and the villagers are nowhere to be seen because they are disintegrating into the ground, and kiljardi ends up tapping out. It was a great game of Age of Empires, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, take care, and see you next time.